Our trip on the TRT started earlier than we expected. We were supposed to camp at Mount Rose Campground, but it was full, so we decided to hike in a day early and set up camp for night on trail. We made it in about a mile before we got off the meadows so we could find a nice place to set up. We rushed to get camp set up because the mosquitoes were out in force. It was so bad, and there were so many that we could hear them flying around us. In the 10 minutes we were outside the tent, we got a collective of over 30 mosquito bites. Our first learned lesson for thru hiking was pants and long sleeves are a must in heavy mosquito areas. Deal with the heat and avoid itching for literal days. Since we didn't get to camp like we thought we were going to, we had to leave our food at the trailhead since it wouldn't fit into our bear camp. So I made the mile-long walk back to the trailhead so we could have breakfast. Luckily Emma is the greatest and she got camp almost completely cleaned up so we could get back on trail before the mosquitoes came back at us. It felt good to hit the trail. We were feeling great and it was finally great to escape the heat from Las Vegas. The trail was beautiful and we were up long before any other hikers were on trail, so we had the trail all to ourselves. We made it 3 or so miles before we took a break and it was time for breakfast. We had a nice break and it was time to get going again. The sights were amazing, we got to take some great photos, and we enjoyed getting to take in the plants we saw as we went. Emma has become quite the expert at trees. Into the Nevada State Park's lands and knew it was almost getting to the end of the day. We only had 5 miles to go before we got to camp for the night. On the way we got to see some amazing views, but nothing would compare to the greatest view that was yet to come. We started our first real climb of the trip and we were feeling dead. Looking back, probably should have started a bit slower and not cranked out 15 miles in the first day. But hey, you live and you learn. We finally crested our trail and got to one of my favorite views from the entire trail, the view of Marlette Lake. I could sit here for hours, but we had to get to camp and get dinner going and eat because we were starving. Our campsite had a nice water pump, which was great because there was not any good water sources around, which is crazy seeing that the second deepest lake in the United States is only a few miles away. We enjoyed our homemade backpacking meals. We tried to make a habit of journaling every day on trails so we could remember our journey, which is something that we will have to keep in mind for future long trails. The day started pretty great. We hit the trail and miles came pretty easy, but once we made it to about the 5-mile mark, those pains from yesterday's were starting to get worse. We stopped for some lunch and started our climb up South Camp Peak, but the trip just kept getting worse from there. We quit.
I mean, I don't call it quitting. I call it
Section hiking.
section hiking. I was gonna say listening to our bodies and doing what's right.
My foot feels like it's about to fall off. I also feel lightheaded and like I'm about to puke my guts out.
My hip hurt yesterday, and it felt pretty good when I woke up, and then we were not even a mile in, and it started hurting really bad, and it was only bothering me badly on uphills because I had to move my hip extra because it's right in the joint. But at the end, it was hurting on flat ground too. Yeah, I'm glad we still came out and did it.
Yep, it was beautiful.
We learned a lot. We saw a lot of beautiful things. We saw a bear.
But we're gonna go do Desolation Wilderness still, and we're gonna go to Kings Canyon and Sequoia National Park on our way home. So, trip's cut short, but
Trip in Tahoe's cut short.
Trip on the Tahoe Rim Trail is cut short.
Yes.
But overall, our trip is not over. So there'll be more to this video, but we're done for the Tahoe Rim Trail. We'll try again in the future. So yes, we didn't finish the trail. Our friends Kurt and Chantal were truly our heroes on this trip. Kurt came and picked us up off the side of a Forest Service road, and then they let us stay the night at their house, and they fed us and let us do all of our laundry. We learned some valuable lessons while we were on this trip that we'll definitely have to implement on future through hikes, like making sure our packs don't weigh too much, doing less mileage early in the trip, and also learning to take breaks, and it's okay to not just crank out miles all day. Like we said, our trip didn't stop. We got back on the trail and we went into the Desolation Wilderness with Kurt and Chantal. We were still in pain, so we ended up just hiking in a few miles and stayed the night at one of the lakes and left the next morning. It was a great time to just relax and just enjoy being out in nature. We didn't stop after the trail. We headed south through the mountains and got to National Park Hop. We didn't film a lot, but we enjoyed getting to walk around and relax. We did get to learn a lot of cool things, and we encourage you, when you go to any of our public lands, take the time to go to the visitor centers and read and learn about why we protect the places that we do. We like to do this first when we get to the park so that we can connect the history to what we're seeing throughout our stay at the park. Also, go to any ranger programs that you can. We went to every single one that was available and got to learn some really cool things that you don't normally get to learn when you visit our public lands. Like the fact a ranger once climbed to the top of one of the giant sequoias to fight a fire that started in the treetop for over 12 hours. The ranger's knowledge is awesome and gets you more connected with the places around you. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching and hope you can come enjoy our adventures in our next video. In the meantime, get out there and enjoy some public lands near your home.